Day 4, 11 o'clock. I have just come offline after doing an incredible 4 hours training. I tell a slight lie, I haven't just come offline. It started at 6 and went through till 10. So I grabbed a quick walk and my morning tea, and here I am. But going back to this whole idea of the small stuff matters, it was extremely challenging this morning to get up before 6 o'clock because I needed to be online at 6 o'clock, and to be awake and enthusiastic to be part of this training experience. But it was gold, and I am going to borrow some stuff that I learnt this morning that I've taken notes because it's going to enhance the lesson that I'm going to share today. So, what I've been doing in these lives, I've been sharing some lessons that I have learnt from my fitness journey, and lessons that I feel are applicable not just to fitness. And it goes back to those 10 insights that I shared with you after my trip to the USA, and the fact that these insights I felt could add to other areas in my life. I had an insight in that moment on that trip, but it was bigger than just the incident that I was in, or the moment that I was in. And I think I talked about the difference between hindsight and insight. And hindsight is more situation specific, whereas insight is a broader principle, something overarching that you can learn from that situation that then feeds into other areas. And I think this has been a real focus for me in the work that I do, is we don't want to fall into the trap that every time we come up against an issue or a problem or something in our life that we're challenged by, that we have to find a fix that's specific to that. We want to be looking at other areas of our life that we have solved issues and draw on that understanding and that learning. Because the more generalized we can become in our principles, going back to our values, the easier it is, because we only need a handful of general principles that can then apply in our life. And I think, this is the missing link for so many of us, that we're searching for fixes for this, then a fix for that, and then a fix for something else. And for me, that awareness came about years ago in with horses. People, how do I stop my horse bucking? How do I stop my horse bolting? How do I stop my horse doing this? And I was encouraging people, even then, way back in 2001, to zoom out and look at the big picture. And maybe it wasn't about the bucking and the bolting and the whatever. Maybe it was about an overarching principle that could be employed, such as positive reinforcement, that might actually help reduce behaviors that we don't want across the board, in at the same time as increasing the behaviors we want. And I'm just going to add a little extra here in case I've got horse people listening, jumping up and down in the background. You always investigate physical reasons for a behavior first. Number one rule. Anyway, I digress. So the more we can learn and join dots, the easier our life is going to be in terms of navigating challenges and issues. So lesson number 3, that I have spent some time fine tuning in my life, I guess, and it's an ongoing process, is find your why. Now, this was really important for me when I first got into fitness in terms of getting on stage, bodybuilding. I'd always been a runner. I've got always been fit, so to speak, but I'd never been in a gym. And this involved, a whole new set of criteria, a whole new approach to my fitness. I was no longer independent. I now required a building with materials in it. And I also had to draw on that idea that I'm going to be doing something massively outside of my comfort zone. It wasn't just, uh, a little bit of uncomfortableness. Can't even talk now. It was huge for me. It was very, very different, a very different experience. And tapping into and discovering my why was really important in order to be able to push through what was uncomfortable, what was verging on being very uncomfortable. I knew in my heart of hearts, and this is where I'm going to tie into what I learned this morning. I knew in my heart of hearts that I was capable. And this is really weird because I think a lot of us know that we're capable of stuff. But that fear and that of what people are going to say, and that doubt that maybe we might trip up and look stupid on the journey to being successful, puts us on the back foot. And the reason that I put so much focus on this foundational work of discovering your why is because that is where you are going to get leverage when people are doubting you, when things go wrong, when you oversleep and forget something, when you can't get to the gym, when you can't get whatever it is you're trying to do achieved, when you don't accomplish something towards your goal. Your why is going to help you push through. And I think this coupled nicely with your values. And I think this is the defining feature of people who go on to be, if we take the example of, traditionally successful, which is money, fame, fortune, whatever you like, obvious success. This is the defining feature. They've got something in their heart that just won't let them stop. And they will often articulate it in interviews. You will often hear people referring to it. And it's not necessarily couched in or framed in that, this is my why, but they'll say something and you go, yeah, that has pushed them through. That's kept them going. And, to some degree, it can be linked to something that you don't want to be. Person that I encountered a long time ago talked about not wanting to be the person who behaves a certain way. And I loved the way he said that. He didn't have to think about it. I said to him, what's your why? What's going to take you through? What's going to enable you to commit to this goal of yours? And as quick as a flash, he said, I don't want to be this type of person. And it was so strong and so clear to him, he had no issue in accomplishing quite a tough task. And what was so beautiful about his example was he was able to articulate it without any build-up. And if you've done any work around identity, and I have talked about it, I've referred to some of Tony Robbins' stuff around identity. Once we've got that identity of who we are fixed in our head, our behavior supports that identity. It's very hard to behave in a way that you don't see yourself. So if you believe or see yourself as somebody who is not confident, who lacks this, who has never been successful at anything, who never seems to have enough money, who has failed relationships, who's always overweight, who's struggled to keep up any fitness regime, if that's how you see yourself, you will find it very hard to behave in a way that says that's not true. And this is really misunderstood, right? Because the behavior analyst in me will say, behavior is the thing. Look to people's behaviors. That tells you so much about them. And there's that, that famous saying, who you are speaks so loudly, I can hardly hear what you're saying. So, your physical, I've misquoted that badly, but who you present as, what you do, how you behave, covers up any other stuff that you're saying. So you can flip that around, you can work that to your advantage, right? But we need to remember that our beliefs about ourselves and how we talk about ourselves, which goes back to this whole language, thank gosh it's full circle, is the key to shifting what we're doing. And so if you've got this strong why something is an absolute must, not, oh, I'd really like to lose 5 kilos, or I'd really like to run 5Ks, or it would be fun to do that. It'd be fun to start my own business. It would be nice. That is not going to push you through when things get rough. And there's these lovely quotes that I've been hearing recently about, it's easy to have faith when things are going well. It's easy to be happy and friendly towards people when everything's going well. Challenges, things going wrong, set us apart. How we behave during those times sets us apart and defines us. And that's where we make a choice. Who am I going to be? Who do I want to be? And why is this so very important to me? Because that's going to push you through. You can share your whys, or you can keep them to yourself. I've had a few emotional conversations with clients who've sat in their swivelly chairs going, I feel really uncomfortable right now, because they're moving out of their head space and they're moving into their heart. Why is this important? It's not enough to say this is important for my health, or this is important so that I'm financially secure. That's all head stuff. The real whys are, I never want to blah, blah, blah. I want to feel blah, 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 blah. I'm tired of playing small. I want to live into the person I know I can be. I want to honour. A lot of people get a passionate why connected to their families. I want to be here for my children. I want to model what it means to be a strong, independent woman, able to do whatever it is, or an independent man. So tap into that why, because that's going to push you through. And that is the lesson that I have learned through this fitness journey. The only reason I was able to get from being this shy person who had never, ever bared so much flesh in public before, up onto that stage in a bikini, was because I tapped into why it was important to me and how I was going to feel when I'd done it. That was the only way I got up there. And I got up there in the right condition and the right state for various other reasons. But the getting up there, the mindset required to get up there and to do the work involved to get there, was understanding why it was important to me and tapping into that. And that has helped me. That helped me over the last 4 years. It has been invaluable tapping into that why. Those of you who know, I'm no longer a registered, I did not re-register as a psychologist for various reasons, which I won't go into in public. And I asked myself why. I asked myself why I stayed as a board certified behaviour analyst, why that was important to me, and why it was important to me not to re-register as a psychologist. I asked myself why it was important for me to make that decision that got me mandated out of my job. My why took me through that challenge of having to pivot and start my own business online. And my why was actually initially not linked at all, really, to me. I had this urge, this desire, this passion, this drive to ensure that other people didn't experience what I went through, which was having nobody, absolutely nobody, to talk to from a professional standpoint. And I think this is really important if you want to push through and come out the other side of multiple challenges in your life that you're going to face. Tap in to a why. So that's my lesson for today. And as I say, it can apply across the board, and it's a work in progress. You might be tweaking it. I know there's lots of other examples of whys out there. If you want to receive the one that I have used, the model that I have used, the 7 levels deep, feel free to direct message me and I'll send you a link to that. It's a fantastic exercise to do. You can do it on your own, but as with so many other things, it's good to do it with somebody else. If you're keen to look at doing it with me, let me know. I have done a few now, and it is an incredible process. And I have felt really humbled that people have felt able to share and become as vulnerable as you need to be to do that exercise. Look forward to catching up with you tomorrow when I will reveal lesson number 4. I didn't actually go into a lot of what I learned today. I'm going to have to expand on this at some point. I feel a workshop coming on. But I will be back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Friday. Can you believe it? For lesson number 4. Drop me a DM if you want to do your why, if you want to know more about the why, or if you want to share some of your experiences around what has pushed you through, what's enabled you to overcome challenges, and maybe share your why. Up to you. Catch up with you soon.